All right, folks, what I'm doing now is I want to try cutting these cutting boards on the sawmill instead of, like I did the other day. I cut some, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago with a chainsaw and then run them through the planer and got them all true on both sides. But this sawmill will keep everything, it'll make it a lot easier. I can just drop down 1.5 inches and make them 1.5 inches thick and then run them through the planer after they've dried out. But if you put these things, if you cut them straight, you know, like straight across, they're a lot more apt to bust because of the grain. So that's why I've got that thing cut at that angle right there. So that grain's running this way, and then I'm making my cuts this way, so it's less apt to bust or split. Still not gonna stack them in the sun because it's so hot and dry right now, they'll bust wide open. The other ones that I did with a chainsaw, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, every one that I cut like that ended up splitting. So the ones that I cut like this didn't. So what I'm gonna do, or what I did with those, is I ended up putting olive oil, some kind of cooking oil, it don't matter, I don't guess. But I put some cooking oil on them just to, you know, on that end grain, just to slow down the drying process, and then that way maybe they wouldn't dry out so fast that they split. Makes a lot of difference on the speed of what, you know, how these things dry. But I'll end up stacking them just like I do that, with sticks in between it, and that way they won't mold and all between the, you know, you can't just stack them up. It would take forever and they'll rot. So I put that air gap in there, then that way they can sort of dry out. But I'm gonna put them in the shade. I'm definitely not gonna set them in the sun because they will bust wide open, I would imagine. I cut a bunch of that stuff right there into cooking wood, and it's busted all to pieces. I mean, it cracks bad, you know, because it's sitting in that hot sun out there. So what I want to do, I got a pear right here, and I want to try this big yellow pine right here and just see how it does. It's not real tight grain, but it should do okay for a cutting board, because that's all this is going to be, just a cutting board. Went ahead and cut me an angle on it with a chainsaw, and I want to screw it to those boards right there, and then that way I'll have a way to dog it off, you know, and hold it to the mill. So you can see right here what I've done. I just put a couple screws in there, just something to hold it while I cut it. Y'all hang in there and let's see how this turns out. It might be a disaster, but never know, it might work out. I figured it'd make a pretty cool video anyway. Y'all can do this with a chainsaw, because that's the way I did the last ones. But anyway, we're gonna give it a go. All right, folks, made short work of that right there. Wasn't nothing to it. And I cut some 2-inch thick on this yellow pine. I got one 2-inch thick here, and then the rest of these are 1.5 inches, and I cut a 2-inch thick on the bottom. That right there's 2-inch thick. Just trying to figure out, I don't want it super heavy, you know, because it's, you know, it is what it is. It's a cutting board, you know. You don't want to have to get a workout dragging that thing out from under the cabinet or wherever you got it. But I don't know about this yellow pine, if it's going to hold up or not, if it's going to bust real bad or whatever. Like I'm saying, it's just trial and error. If it doesn't work out, I can always cut hickory or something like that. But look at these things. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Whew. Got that bluing in it. Wow. It's going to be sharp, y'all. Count the rings on that and pretty quick, can't you? It's not tack grain, but I'm really hoping it's going to hold up anyway. And of course this, I've already tried this. I was telling you about that one ago. They work out pretty good. Oh, I'm going to probably cover them with olive oil or something like that. You know, you don't have to have this, you know, sawmill to do this. I did the other ones with a chainsaw. You can cut it with a chainsaw, run it through a planer to true it up, or you can do it with a sander. You can do it with a hand planer, you know, whatever you got. I mean, you don't have to have all this equipment to do this. This is pretty simple. Just making some cutting boards. Yeah, it's pretty. Wow. It's gonna look pretty sharp, ain't it? That'll make good Christmas presents right there. I don't know about epoxy going over the oil, so that's why I'm just gonna probably just stick with some kind of cooking oil or something and seal it with that. Because, like I said, I don't know how epoxy would hold up, you know, sticking to that oil that I've already got in there to slow down the drying process. That'll be something you'd have to Google there. I don't think it's gonna stick real good to these after you oil them. And then trying to get that oil off of them, running them through a planer again, you're just making them thinner to get down to that point. I think I'm just gonna stick with some type of oil that's safe. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Super simple, you know, just out here doing something. Taking some waste and making something out of it. Just experiment. All I did was put 4 screws through those underneath there to hold it. You can do the same thing with the chainsaw and just run down through there with the chainsaw. Hey, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Appreciate y'all.